Welcome back, Math 2 students. Today we're going to be investigating the blackbird, so we can see that the blackbird's trajectory is represented by the table below. Now, this is not the full table that we're given, so we are going to have to continue the table. So before we begin, I want to explain something really quick. X is your distance, and Y is going to be your height. Okay, so looking at our table on the Y, let's see what's the highest height. Well, looks like it's right here at 1632, because after that 17, x equals 17, it's going down. So if you can see, if we continue our table, 18, since these two are coincide, then it'll be 30, 17, oops, 19, I meant 19. 19 would be 27.5. Don't know why they would give you decimals. 20 would be 24. So it looks like it's going down. 21 would be 19.5. 22 would be 14. And let me go ahead and make this smaller. 23 would be 7.5. And 24 is 0. So we continued our table. So notice how the highest height that it reaches, it's at 32. So we can already fill out number 3, because we can see that this is the height at 32. There's another thing that I can also look at. This is also the vertex. This is the middle of the graph. So this is going to be 16, 32. Because remember, when we're looking at a graph, the highest point is usually the vertex, the middle of the graph. So we can already see that our axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 16, since that's the vertex. And so far, the next thing we can calculate are our zeros. Remember, in order to be an x-intercept, x could be any number, but y has to be a 0. So if you look at your table, y equals 0 here, y equals 0 here. That is your x-intercepts, your zeros. So we're just identifying by looking at the table, not doing any math just yet. Eight comma 0, and then 24 comma 0. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do a graph. Let's move this underneath. Alright, that's a little bit better. So I'm just gonna draw a quick graph. Does not have to be perfect. Alright, so we know that one of our x-intercepts is at 8, and the next one is going to be at 24. And then our middle, we said, is going to be 16, x equals 16, and then the highest, we said it was 32. So we can already go ahead and graph or draw our graph. Again, this is just an example. I'm not saying it's gonna be the exact graph. It's just based on the information that we already have. So easily the distance, remember we take the x-intercept, so 24 minus 8. What would that give you? That would give you 16. So the distance is 16. Remember that domain is x values. Oops. Let me make this a little bit bigger. There we go. X values. So starting point right here at 8 starts the graph, but it goes all the way to 24. So domain starts at 8 and ends at 24. Brackets. Remember that range is y values. So going up and down. So it looks like it starts right here at 0, but then goes all the way up to 32. So from 0 all the way up to 32. That is our range. And now we gotta find our a value. So again, we want to put it in factored form. Remember, factor form is y equals a, x minus our x-intercept. So our first x-intercept was 8, and then our second x-intercept was 24. So x minus 24. Remember, we got to use the vertex point, which in this case is 1632. We're going to plug in x and we're going to plug in y. Let's substitute. Y is 32. A is the one we're trying to find. 16 is what we're going to plug in for x. And then we're going to simplify. So 16 minus 8 is 8 in the first parentheses. And the second one we have 16 minus 24, 16 minus 24, which gives us negative 8. We still want a by itself, so 32 equals a, parentheses, 8 times negative 8, which is negative 64. A is still not by itself. Somehow we need to get rid of that negative 64 by dividing both sides by negative 64. So a here equals, I'm going to move that negative with the negative 64 in the middle because we don't want that, or on top. Normally we don't write a negative in the denominator. Now this looks like it simplifies. So let me see what we can simplify this to. It looks like numerator and denominator are both divisible by 32. So we're going to divide both sides, not both sides, top and bottom by 32. So negative 32 divided by positive 32 will give you negative 1. 64 divided by 32 would give you 2. So a ultimately equals negative 1/2. Now this is not our equation. Remember, we still have to plug it into the original one. So we're gonna take this one and plug it in. So our actual equation will be y equals a, which in this case it's negative 1/2, parentheses, x minus 8 and x minus 24. And this is our factor form. So rewriting it over here. Alrighty, now that you've watched the video, I will need you to start working out your black bird on a different paper and start filling out your slide number 9. Once you figure out your factored form, then you're going to graph it on Desmos, and then you're going to drag your black bird all the way to the highest point. Remember, to make your blackbird visible, you have to select the blackbird and put arrange and then bring forward or bring to front. Alrighty, I will see you guys in the next one.